Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Today is the last one of the week, obviously being Friday. Hope you guys have had a good trading week so far. So I'm just going to put the disclaimers on the screen whilst we're here. She says, there you go. Obviously important that you guys read them, not just for legal reasons, but of course it's a good thing to understand that when you watch these kind of videos, they are a demonstration of how we think about the markets and how we do things, how we use our technology. But ultimately, it's up to you if you ignore that, if you take it on board, if you do something in between, if you use the apps, if you don't use the apps, if you do something else. Ultimately, your choice as an individual trader. Now, my name's Becky. My email address, I know my head is in the way there, but my email address is becky@tradictive.com, so you can email me on that if you need. There's also tradewithufos.com/Becky. So I'll just take you to that real quick. So this will bring you here. Now you can set up a free Trade with UFOs membership on that link. And then once you've got a free membership, you can come down and ask questions in a public setting in this area here. Now the good thing about that is that it means that other people see the answer. You ask it publicly, we answer it publicly. So you can send us an email and we can do it individually, one-to-one, of course. But it may be that the question that you have, somebody else has already asked, in which case the answer's already here, you don't need to email us. Or if you ask the question here, if it's not already there, then you're doing somebody else that favour later down the line where they can see that answer and all learn from it without needing to necessarily email and wait for a response. The answers will all be here. Okay, so it's tradewithufos.com/Becky, and that will be how you do that. Set up a free Trade with UFOs membership. Okay, so what do? I'm just going to bring up the email and the charts here. So the 3D approach, the 3D market commentary that we go through every morning or every day, depending on where you are, depends on what time of day, is an email that we send out that goes through the statistics and the technology for 5 major markets in the world. We call it a 3D approach because we go through 3 separate elements. So the first thing is what we call market climate. Essentially, do I have probabilities up or probabilities down? Should I go long or short? Should I buy or sell? Now we figure this out by this section here. This is a free app called AutoClimate, which we use to help us figure out where the probabilities are, up or down, or sometimes nowhere. So in this example, we may have a thick blue dot. Ignore the lines for now, just look at the dots and the colors and the thickness. If it's a thick blue dot, that tells us probability to the upside. We should be looking to go long. If it's a thick red dot, that tells us probabilities to the downside. We should be looking to go short. Or we have thin dots of either color. Those thin dots doesn't actually matter the color. Those are telling us that we don't have probabilities either way, in which case best to keep away or change time frame, change market. There's no need to place a trade or force a trade if we don't have probabilities one way or the other. So we use AutoClimate to tell us what the market climate is, i.e. where are the probabilities up or down or nowhere. Then we have our buy and sell UFOs, which help us with our entries and exits. Now, UFO stands for unfilled orders. And what that essentially means is, where do we have buy orders in the market or sell orders? We don't have any on this chart, but I'll show you on another chart. Where do we have buy orders and sell orders in the market? This is a paid for app. I'll explain it a little bit later, where it shows you exactly where we have stacks of buy orders or stacks of sell orders in the market. Now, why is that helpful? Because if we want to buy, ideally we want to buy where there's lots of other buying going on. Because the more buyers there are, the more likely it is to beat the sellers and push price upwards. When we're selling, we want to sell when there's lots of other sellers. Because the more sellers there are, the more likely it is to beat the buyers and push price down. So we use this app to show us, we've got these little flying saucery type things that are showing us visually where it is. But we also have these prices on the right hand side that are highlighted, showing us exactly where that price range is. So between these two prices is where we have this stack of buy orders. Between these two prices is where we have this stack of buy orders, and so on. So we look for buy and sell UFOs to identify our entries and exits. Where exactly would we be getting in, getting out? And then market volatility. Normally, the higher the volatility, which means how quickly it moves, the higher the risk, but could also mean higher the reward. The lower the volatility, the lower the risk, or could also mean lower the reward. So we'll look at these 3 concepts per market using the technology to tell us exactly what these numbers are for 5 of the major markets in the world. Now we're looking at a daily chart for each market. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. So if you use much higher or much smaller time frames, of course things will be different. Daily charts somewhere in the middle, so hopefully that helps you. And we'll also be using futures contracts to show the representations of these markets. So don't worry if you don't know what futures are, you'll still understand the markets that we're looking at bit by bit. So we'll start with the S&P. So the S&P 500 is a collection of US stocks. So we're looking at the futures contract that represents the S&P 500, or in easier terms, we're looking at the US stock market. Now, with the US stock market, we see that we have a confirmed upwards climate. We see that because it's a thick blue dot, tells us probability to the upside. Now, usually this market would go up for 9 candles, so 9 days. I know that says 8.76, I'm just rounding up. You can't have a decimal place of a candle, so I'm rounding it up to 9. So normally it goes up for 9 candles, and we're on candle number 14. That tells us that we have gone past what is usual in terms of a move to the upside, which tells us we have less probabilities of it continuing and more probabilities of it changing direction. The more you pull on an elastic band, the less likely it is to let you keep pulling it, and the more likely it is to come back on itself. So that's the concept here. Not to say we can't go past that. Of course, you can go way past what's normal. That's how we get what's normal. We get the statistics and the averages in between. But the longer we go past what is a usual thing to happen, the less likely it is to happen. Kind of makes sense, right? So probabilities to the upside, still not quite as many as we'd like, basically. Buy and sell UFOs. We have this buy UFO is the closest one to us. Numbers for that are 4076.00 to 4052.25. Now, we have no sell orders above us because we're pretty much at all-time highs. So nothing to see there at the moment. So buy orders beneath us, probability to the upside, although not as many as we like. And then when it comes to volatility, we expect movement up or down in one day of 43.68 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 96.17 points, and in 1 month, up or down of 200.19 points. Again, that gives us an idea of what we would expect in terms of movement up or down. But when it comes to in which direction that's more likely to happen, we'll use our climate and UFOs to help us figure it out. At the moment, overall probabilities there still to the upside, although not quite every box ticked. Okay, so that's the S&P. Let's move on to the next market, which is oil. Now, in the meantime, as I load this, you'll see here the browsing courses and courses that we do. We do courses in futures, forex, stocks, also trading psychology, trading plans, backtesting that plan. So you can register for any of those courses if you want to. Cool thing with the courses is that they come with 3 months free access to the apps. Now, AutoClimate is a free app anyway on most platforms that we have it on. AutoUFOs, depending on which platform you use, it's a different cost. For TradingView, it's $34 a month. A lot of our courses are $34 or $89. So it might make more sense if you just want the apps to buy a course, and then you get the apps for 3 months. Cheaper than paying for the apps for 3 months in a row, if that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys if you want to do that. And again, there's great courses to be had. So don't just buy the course if you just want the app. There are loads of things to learn as well. Okay, so with oil, we have market climate, confirmed upwards climate, thick blue dot, probability upwards. Normally, the market goes up for 7 candles, 7 days, again, rounding that up. And we're on candle number 3. So this tells us we do have probability of a continuous move up based on what usually happens. However, when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have sell UFOs here at 66.40 to 63.60 that price has just hit. Now we expect sell UFOs to push price downwards. So we have 2 competing forces here. We have buy orders coming in from the climate, but we have sell orders from the UFOs. So buyers and sellers are fighting each other here. I tend to want to keep out of that. Let whoever wants to win, and then I'll jump on that one. Otherwise, it's more of a gamble. If you've got kind of probabilities going off against each other, you don't have enough lining up in one direction, then it's more of a gamble, more of a guess. So I'd rather keep out of that. When it comes to buy UFOs, we have this one here, and that is 60.77 to 58.73. So at the moment, probabilities to the upside when it comes to the climate, probabilities that it continues when it comes to the climate, but sell orders in the way. So be aware of that. Overall, slightly more probability to the upside, but be aware of those sell orders that could change things. Now with volatility, we'd expect movement up or down in one day of 1.37 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 3.02 points. And in 1 month, it would be up or down of 6.28 points. So that's oil. Let's move on to the next market, which will be gold. So it says there about the UFOs. Again, you could subscribe directly to the UFOs if you'd like. On TradingView, they're $34 a month, or you can have yearly discounts. Or as I said, they come part and parcel for a 3-month access for free as part of the courses, which are actually often cheaper than if you paid for 3 months in a row. So check that out on the website and see what works out better for you, depending on which courses you want to do, which apps you want to use. And as I said, Market Climate's a free app. So when it comes to gold, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Thick blue dot, probability to the upside. Usually this market goes up for 7 candles. Again, I know that says 6.09. I'm rounding it up because you can't have 0.09 of a candle, so I'm going to make it a whole candle. So usually price goes up for 7 candles. We're on candle number 1, meaning we have probability of a continuous move to the upside based on what usually happens. However, we do have a situation here, same as we just had in oil, in that we have a sell UFO literally right there, right on top of us. Numbers for that are 1815.2 to 1782.2. And price is literally just touching it. That means that again, we have competing forces. We have buy orders with probability of continuing with the climate, but we have people selling coming in now, buyers and sellers fighting each other. Not enough probability, in my opinion, lined up in one direction for us to be able to place trades on this. Overall, still probability to the upside with the climate, but sell orders in the way that could change things. Again, just be aware of that. Now, when it comes to market volatility on gold, we'd expect a movement up or down in 1 day of 17.09 points. In a week, it would be up or down of 37.63 points. And in 1 month, it would be up or down of 78.33 points. So that's gold. Let's move on to the next market. Now, in the meantime, it says here about coaching and support. Obviously, we do things on YouTube for free. We do loads of things on YouTube for free. So you can follow us, watch us trade in the markets, watch us analyze the markets in real time, and go through and place trades on YouTube for free. You can also join us on our closed coaching or advanced coaching. We have more of our time in a closed environment. That's $21 a month or yearly discounts. Okay, so let's have a look at the US dollar. That's the next market here. Here we go. So the US dollar, we have a confirmed downwards climate. We see that because we have a thick red dot, probability to the downside. Usually this market would go down for 6 candles and we're on candle number 8. So again, it tells us we've gone past what is usual, which means it's less likely to keep doing that and more likely to change direction. So still probabilities to the downside with the climate, but again, not enough boxes ticked really. Now when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we are kind of right in between them. So we're right here and we have sell orders just above us at 92.430 to 91.785. And we have buy orders just below us at 91.405 to 90.635. Now these buy orders have already worked. We've seen price come in, hit the top line of our stack of buy orders and go up. Come back, hit the stack of buy orders and go up. Now we're seeing it come back again. So it'll be interesting to see with the climate as well, if it hits these buy orders and moves back up again, or if it hits these buy orders and pushes through because of the climate. So again, we have these two competing forces that are likely to be fighting against each other very soon, because we have sell orders coming in from the climate, sell orders coming in from UFOs, and then buy orders coming in from UFOs. Overall probability to the downside there because we have the climate and we have sell orders above us. But against that, we have buy orders and gone past what's usual on the climate. So again, overall, two competing forces. I'd rather keep out of it, look at a different time frame, different market. Now when it comes to market volatility, we see movement up or down in 1 day to be expected of 0.33 points. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 0.72 points. Or in 1 month, it would be up or down of 1.50 points. Okay, so that's the US dollar. Last but not least, let's have a look at backed Bitcoin. That's our last market here. Backed Bitcoin. Now, let's just switch this down so we see this here properly. So with Bitcoin, we have a confirmed upwards climate, probability to the upside, thick blue dot. Great. Now, we don't know how long this market usually goes up for because it's not been around long enough for us to have the data on a daily chart to be able to say this is what usually happens. If we gave a number for that, it would be given a number based on too few data, which means it's less accurate. So kind of in the dark at the moment as to how long it would usually go up or down for, but we are currently on candle number 6. Doesn't hopefully it makes sense to say that the smaller that number, the better anyway. So at the moment we're on 6 out of who knows how many. Now when it comes to buy and sell UFOs, we have buy orders just below us here. Numbers for that are 61,622.5 to 57,997.5. Now we would expect buy orders to push price up. They're already doing it a little bit. Price has come in, that wick's gone down there and it's come back up again. So it is pushing price up at the moment. Be interesting to see whether it pushes it up enough to keep pushing it up or whether or not we'll see a change in price. At the moment though, probability there to the upside. Now when it comes to market volatility, we'd expect up or down in one day a movement of 2,932.37 there on Bitcoin. In 1 week, it would be up or down of 6,455.31. And in 1 month, we would expect movement up or down of 13,437.79. Bit more volatile than the others, not good or bad, depends how you see it as a trader. With more volatility comes more risk, but with more risk can come more reward. So bear that in mind, it's up to you to weigh that up. Now when it comes to the economic calendar, that also helps us with our analysis of volatility. So if you look at fxstreet.com/economic calendar, and then you can see here the high impact news that is coming out on different countries. You can filter there by the countries that you trade in, the markets that you trade, the currencies that you trade, or the stocks that you trade. So you can filter it by that. But let's say, for example, today being Friday, we have US dollar news coming out around about 9 a.m. Eastern. So you may be somebody that says, okay, if we have high impact news coming out at that time, I don't care what the news is. We don't use the news to help us buy or sell. We use objective data to help us figure out whether or not to buy or sell. But if we know we've got high impact news coming out or a news report that could create a high impact on the markets, you may be somebody that says, I'm going to keep away from that. I'm not going to trade anything in the US around that time. So no US dollar pairs, no US stocks. Okay, no problem. You could be somebody who says, I don't care, I love volatility, let's get involved. You could be somebody in between that says, I'm going to trade the US dollar, but maybe I place less trades than I would normally. Or I'm going to trade US markets, but I'm going to reduce my risk percentage. It's up to you to decide how you deal with that. Point being, you can find out the volatility itself or the expected volatility from high impact news by going to the economic calendar. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so any questions you guys have, of course you can email me, you can go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, get yourself a free membership and ask in the public domain so that we can answer it then. You can also self-schedule a clarification call. If you want to talk through with somebody and say, can I just use auto climate? Do I need to use the apps? Is it best for me to do the membership? What courses should I do? I want the apps, I want to get them cheaper as part of the courses. What courses make more sense to do? Whatever it is, whatever questions you have, you can self-schedule a clarification call, speak to one of our experts, figure it out, see what makes better sense for you. Could be nothing, could be don't trade, that could be the answer. Or it could be any one of the other things that we've talked about. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. I will leave you here. Hopefully you have a great end to your trading week and a great weekend ahead, and I will be back on Monday. So I'll see you then. Otherwise, take care, guys, and see you next time.